Hello, good morning. Why is Twitch telling me... Why is Twitch telling me to subscribe to my own channel? Huh? What? What is this? Oh no, it opened a new tab. Ah! Wait! Ah! No, no, no. I'm busy. Oh gosh, okay, everything is going unstable. That's fine. It's fine. Anyways. Hello! I am back from my... I can't think. Music's so loud. I'm back from vacation with me family. Me familia. We went to Vegas. Oh. I don't... Okay, what did we do? We did a lot, actually. Most of it was eating. We ate at a lot of places. Oh, no, I almost started it. Ah! What is happening? Get in here, Jaku. We ate at the Netflix diner place where they basically had like dishes inspired by what? Inspired by Netflix shows. And I had this pasta that was really good, but it was from a show that I've never watched before. Something about something about lawyers and cases. It had like brisket and I don't know, it was really good though. Never had I had such good pasta before.
What up?
What up? Hi.
What up, gambler?
I didn't gamble because I have no self-control, and if I start, I will not stop until that balance hits 0 on all of my accounts. So I didn't I didn't gamble.
Never play gacha games.
I am so bad with gacha games. I don't know how to save. I'm saving right... Okay. Love and Deep Space is a different thing because they have 5 love interests that you can pull for. Unlike those other gacha games where they have like 1 million characters that comes out and you have to pull for them, whatever. But Love and Deep Space, there's just 5 right now. And I only like 2 of them, 3 of them. But I only pull for 1 of them. So my wallet is safe with that game.
That game, nice. Yeah, a lot of gacha games have like 100 characters.
Yeah, and I heard
Crazy.
in Genshin, it's like when there's a new zone, you kind of need the newer characters to like succeed in those new zones. Like, yeah.
Power creep.
Yeah,
Ew.
that's the term. So you have to keep pulling. I feel like the roster that I have right now, I don't play it. I haven't played it since Inazuma, and I think they're like way past that. But like, I don't think my current roster will survive in the newer maps. Anyways, are we ready?
I remember the Genshin streams. Yeah, I'm ready.
I should stream that again. I miss my boyfriend in that game. His name
You can play that.
was
Sorry.
Child. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, you can play the. Were you gonna play the new? What was it called? Like the purple.
I don't know.
Purple
I
something.
call it the purple gacha because that's all I remember.
Oh yeah, it's called Silver something. Yeah,
So
but it's the purple.
did it have
gacha game,
night in the title?
yeah. Silver Knights? No.
No.
Was it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I've checked this like twice and I always forget.
I forget it too. Let me know because I do want to keep up with it. I think I signed up for like a beta or something, but what? I don't check my emails. Who knows? We're level 10.
knows?
The last time we started at level 10, horrible things happened. Half Moon, I didn't read
Silver
it.
Palace, that's what it's called.
Silver Palace. I got I got a shotgun.
I got a laser gun. Full health, little cart.
Hello. Oh,
This guy. Okay, I'll leave the laser gun here.
this is the same setup where I got kidnapped and had a leech on me. So I am quite terrified already.
Still don't know what to do.
I have an indestructible drone if you need it.
I think I will manage this couple.
Oh, she wants me.
Here already?
Please kill her. Man, those hands of hers are freaky.
Oh, the duck.
Excuse me, sorry.
Wow, they came here fast.
That's what happened last time, right? Oh,
Oh, no face.
no face and the girlfriend. Oh, the dog's eyes. Husband.
No!
Surely they can't come in here, right? A thing broke. My gun is out of charge already.
How did they come here so fast? What level is this?
10. Remember last time that happened too in this same room? Oh.
Ugh. I thought we were like yapping for minutes.
I didn't yap that much. Did we get all the souls or did we lose some? Why is there a health pack right here?
Will. I was bringing you a health back. I didn't know.
Do you want it back? It's here.
No, we can leave it somewhere.
Okay. There's holes now, so I don't want to accidentally drop it.
Well, at least we know who's in this level.
Yeah, all
They
of them
just
came out.
kindly showed themselves. Oh wait, there's the birthday gift.
Oh. Ah! Another one? Oh, maybe we didn't. Did we not kill it the first time? Ew, disgusting creature. I didn't realize that he
Touching the
survived.
balloons. I don't know if there are two of them.
Did we kill him the first time? I didn't shoot at him, so. Eh. Okay. With the huntsman here, that means I can't yap. Not really. Bring this upstairs. Surely there's nothing horrible up here, right? I can yap for now. So, we went to the Netflix, oh, I forgot about that one. That one we didn't kill. Little marshmallow man. I don't remember anymore now that I think about it. But there was like a sushi platter. They didn't serve it anymore, but it was in the advertising, which is why we went in the first place. But there was like a sushi, a sushi boat, and it was the one piece boat. I think I forgot what it was called. Luffy's boat, Merrily or something. I don't know. It's been forever, but they were advertising it, but it wasn't in the menu. And we were like, oh, is this a limited time? And they were like, we don't serve this anymore. But they did still serve like Sanji's platter or something, like a tuna dish. And I was like, no, it's not the same. And then there was like a lot of... Oh. This is the closest extraction. I will save that for last. There were like a lot of cool drinks and stuff. I hope Jaku's alive. Jaku, are you alive?
Hello.
Hello. I found the
Yeah.
closest extraction.
Nice.
Yes, so anything this way we can immediately use after. I can't hear you anymore. There was also like another thing that they were advertising was like the Bridgerton tea thingies. It was like the tiered platters with tea cakes, tea sandwiches. And I really wanted to get that too, but they also weren't serving that, and I was just like, what is the point? Why did we come here? And I think they had like just their I mean, it was always worth this much. Their main Netflix shows. Did Jock go this way, or is that the way back? Jock went that way. Okay. If it's being unlocked, then that means that's where Jaku went. But why would Jaku go all the way over there without the cart? Jaku get kidnapped, perhaps? Is that what it means? I like this painting. I would want it on my wall. Not that. A poop! Two poops. It's not a poop, never mind. Just...
I'm just bringing this to the other extraction.
Okay. I will go up the vent. Wow. And then we rode the Ferris wheel, and it was, I think it was like the biggest Ferris wheel I've been on. The one in Seattle was definitely a lot smaller than that one. Oh, there's nothing up here. Ah! I came up here for nothing. Hello.
Nothing?
Nothing.
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 Maybe we can fit this in the first one.
I will go... Should we... little dynamites. Oh, I missed. Come on, buddy. Come here. The trick is to remain calm. If they know that you're scared, they will explode faster. I think I'll bring this and then I'll...
know your fear.
The poop fell off.
Wow.
It wasn't fully in the thing. Don't you hate that?
Yeah, there's some sort of...
There.
Where did the thing break?
Huh?
Did the other thing break?
No, I took it on the other cart because it's Eminol!
Maybe we could roast some animal.
Yay! Something did break then. What?
No,
It fell off.
bro.
It was like perfectly on there too.
Ah, it was living its own life and just chose to end.
Ah. Yeah, we came back on Monday, but I was too tired on Tuesday. I was like, I want to sleep in.
Oh, shoes.
I just want to eat.
Get your sleep. I've been so tired the past 2 days. Ugh.
Maybe something's coming around. The stars, the stars are in alignment. Mass nap time.
Nice. Maybe it's your fault because
My
you were
fault.
tired.
Oh yes, I sent my eepy energy to you. I'll take this to. I'll go open the next thing. Wherever it was. Oh, it was just standing there. That was so creepy. Jaku! That was a hole in the ground. Oh no. Oh no. Why? Why? Hey lady, what if you didn't? Hey lady, what if you didn't? If she knows where I am, I just wait here, right? I'll just wait here. And ah! It's frightening. Okay, maybe she's. Oh no. Oh no. Jaku?
That's cheating, she's cheating! I heard dynamite. Oh no, face is coming as well.
Wait.
Run. No. Get in the hole!
Oh my god.
Oh, thank you.
Jaku? Okay. Did you fall in here?
No. Where's the duck? I can't see it! Oh, there it is.
Jeepers.
Oh,
I saw a blue thing on the ground and I was like, oh no, Jaku died. There's something up here. How do you even get there? Oh, that's so dangerous.
are you supposed to get there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
you
jump
are.
thing.
Oh, I see.
I'm not doing that.
There, I mean,
It's right over a hole. Jaku, please. Jaku is right over a hole.
Okay, I'm done.
How brave of you.
I'm so brave.
Couldn't be me.
Wait, what was the big item?
Upstairs. It's kind of it's a tall thing. Anything in here? Whatever you said, I didn't hear it at all.
Yeah.
Should we finish this one? Wow, I think I broke it by 1K. Hey. This is a thing, right? They serve it to you in a
50
restaurant.
coins.
A little egg in a cup, in a little cup.
What's that?
Don't they serve it at a restaurant? Oh! Are you okay? No, Jaku. Hold on. Were you one shot? I can't lift that. Ugh, I can go to the next one. I need to get you back alive before the ugly lady respawns, because then if she does, I'm dead.
Don't you have a lot of strength?
I have 3.
That should be enough.
Ah!
No, don't sell me!
Take that head away.
Ah, they spared me.
Oh,
Oh, marshmallow.
at least they don't like. It doesn't cost anything to revive you. You know, like rebuild your body doesn't cost anything. I think it saw me. Is it dead? Oh. Yes, it is. The birthday boy is back.
The birthday boy. The huntsman just shot one of these dolls. Like it was on the side. And he just chose to shoot it.
Maybe it bounced and
It's like,
he
okay, cool.
got mad.
Come mad.
So mad. Let's go up here.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
Oh.
It's fine, it's fine. A little scratch. Thank you. Whoa, what is this guy doing?
What guy? Is there a new guy? Oh, there's a blender!
The animal. Oh. Oh. Animals work so much.
Right up!
Sheesh. Where's the...
I was gonna look for it.
Here's some probably.
Down here. Just drop it. Oh, it exploded.
Yeah, it explodes, but it doesn't lose any value. Kind of fun. Oh, I think it's over here.
Ba-ba-da,
Probably
ba-ba-da,
feel, but I
ba-ba-da-ba-da.
don't wanna use our health that we have so much. Because I'm greedy.
Let's see. I can go up. There seems to be stuff upstairs. Time to go.
Good luck. Oh, check this
Pints.
now. Wait, no, you took this already.
There's a DJ thingy here. DJ thingy. A boombox? What is it called? The thing that plays music and makes your head shake.
Ooh. I got it, I got it, I got it.
Okay, I fell.
Whoop, whoop. Oh no, hands, hands, I see hands. Grandma is coming!
Got my shotgun pointed at the door. Oh, there's any holes in here? Oh, I got a dog.
This is the only way in here, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. How much reach do you have? Hi, puppy.
4.
What was that?
Oh, there she is. I can shoot her. I think I can one-shot her with this. Oh, never mind.
She's alive. She popped the balloon.
I think it's fine if she does it, but I'll be on standby just in case. Oh, wait. Okay,
What?
it's fine.
Oh my god. Happy birthday.
Come here,
Oh.
birthday. Wow! Give me 4 strength.
Oh,
Very well. Little boy.
He actually says ow. Alright.
You
Shall
little
we-
duck.
The huntsman should also be alive again. I'll take this downstairs.
One shot.
We're both one shot.
Cool.
Hmm?
Can we put this in? No, we can't. Okay.
This one first. And then the carts.
Okay. Yeah. It's not the last one. I was like, oh, do I need to run here?
Hi, Taya.
Hello.
How are you? Big ass blender. Yeah, I had a lot of money in it too. And it blends the money. Every time you touch it, it turns on.
Truly a piece of art. Got 109,000.
Okay. Well. Gonna fall down the stairs.
Oh, you fell. Oh, he died? Oh, you shot him?
I shot him.
Nice job.
Feeling blah, how are you? Oh, I hope you feel better. I'm good. Still recovering from my flight. I think I got sick during my flight. But I'm feeling better now. I was in Vegas. What did you do over the weekend? I was in Vegas with my family. The last one's all the way back at the start, and I have to remember where that is. bad memory. This looks familiar. No, it doesn't.
The other way?
Oh, the dog. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. What's up? No face. How's Vegas? It was. Hello. I had no face behind me while I was petting the dog. It wasn't too bad. It rained like the first day, and then one of the locals was like, it never rains here. So I guess, you know, I'm just bringing that Pacific Northwest weather with us when we went down there. Is that?
I didn't look where I. Okay.
Are you? Oh, okay. I'll go back to the. Okay. I will push it in. Go on back to the truck. Go on. Go on. I'll do. Ooh, I'll count down. Packed it in your suitcase. Yeah. The rainy weather followed us, but apparently there's like an F1 race going on, so there was a lot of traffic. But we stayed at a couple hotels because that's what my mom wanted to do. She just wanted to hotel hop and like see all the different decor and stuff. She likes people watching, so she likes places where there's a lot of different people from different walks of life. So like Vegas is one of her the places that she likes to go to sightsee and stuff. No one in my family gambles, but yeah. So we don't go to Vegas for gambling. We go there for sightseeing and food and like the attractions and stuff. Sorry, that scared me. Why did that scare me so much? I flinched.
The animal.
Always gamble? No. I can't gamble. If I have very
Gamble.
poor self-control. So if I gamble, I'm not stopping. Not stopping till that balance hits 0, you know? You know what I mean? 15.
Well, you know what they say.
Cart laser 46k.
99% of gamblers
Stop
give up
before
just
they.
before they win.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want
What was that?
you want range?
I have 4 range. We have girl gambling, blind boxes, and gotchas. I got that.
Oh,
That's my kind of gambling. We ate at this Netflix cafe in one of the hotels. Because I think they saw that there was like themed. It's like a restaurant with themed foods, and the one that they saw was like a one-piece sushi boat where the boat was in the shape of the One Piece pirate ship, Luffy's pirate ship, and then there was like sushi and stuff, and they wanted that, but then they weren't serving it anymore. And we were like, aw. Then there was the Bridgerton tea set. It was like a tiered platters with like tea cakes and tea sandwiches, but they also weren't serving that anymore. I wonder if they only serve it like right when the new seasons come out. So yeah, oh, this is really full. Our energy thing is super full. who's strength for?
Do
weren't-
you want 4 strength? So you can pick up birthday boy and animal and
Hold on.
alien.
I have 3 strength, so yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, 4 is a nice number.
It wasn't on the menu, but it was like there were pictures of it on the walls. So we were like, this is false advertising. But we were already seated and there's like a lot of us. So we didn't want to just like walk out after being seated. They had to like accommodate us because there's so many of us with little babies. So we just dined in there. And then what is McJanix? Heck. I have a snap.
I didn't even realize.
But I got this one pasta dish from a TV show. I think it was like a law, because it was like the something case, but it had like brisket in the pasta and it was like really good. It was too flavorful for me. I couldn't finish it. I got like tired of it after. I couldn't finish maybe like 1/4 of it. And then
Too much flavor.
it's a thing. It was really good though. Like I loved it, but I could only like eat so much of it before getting tired of it. Does that make sense? I know some people when it's good, you eat it until it's gone, you know, like that, but just like how if something's too sweet, you can't finish it. You get sweetened out. That was me, but for the other flavor, whatever it was. Savory?
I wish there was a restaurant that served the food that they're having
In what? Woo!
in Star Trek, like the new one.
Oh, Star Trek
TV show we
foods?
watched. Yeah, every time I saw the food in that show, I was like, oh, I want that.
There's a movie
Hey,
theater.
Dude. Oh, invisible guy.
There's a movie theater that has like a dine-in experience where like they serve you all the foods that the movie plays. So I think I wanted to attend oh, there's something up here. Big thing up here. I wanted to attend like a Harry Potter one because like, you know, the grand feast and stuff. I don't remember which one. Eyeball.
The enemies are starting to pour in.
You get me. The spice, it was really good. It was okay. I can't complain. It was really good, but it was just a lot of food for me. And I was like, I can't finish this. And I passed it to Ven, and then he started eating it, and I was like, whoa now. Whoa. Wait. Because he had his own dish, right? And he started eating mine. I was like, wait, I want that for later. And he also said that it was like the best thing and he was gonna make it at home too. Here, let me help you.
Thank you. But be careful. There are enemies somewhere. I can smell them.
Are they stinky?
I don't know, they smell kind of good.
Sorry, I dropped it. I let go because you were holding it and then it just decided to lose 2k in value. My bad.
It just chose.
Yeah. It was like, how dare you let me go? I still wanted to be held. Same. On the closest one, at least. Oh. I will move you here. I was like, this'll let me just eat this much since I can't finish it and then I'll just have it again later. But then he was like, "Oh, this is good," and then he kept eating, and I was like, "Mi pasta." Me pasta, not me pasta. Oh, another big thing. I might take that over there too. May as well. Oh no, another big thing. Another big thing. It's so interesting that I can just lift these now. I've never had this much strength before. Oh. I think this is the closest
Hello.
extraction. Hello, there's like 3 big things here. I'm gonna just leave them this one. On this one. What? Okay, I thought there was something. Oh, you didn't want to take the stairs?
Oh. Can we fit this in the first one?
Sure. But there's an extraction link.
We can.
There's an extraction link right here, though. But if it fits, go ahead. Can't see where I'm going.
Ups.
Ups, ups.
Ups.
Ups. I noticed that there was a lot of like Filipino workers in Vegas. And so my sister was like my sister was getting us a bunch of like free upgrades and stuff because she's just so personable, especially if they're Filipino. She just knows how to sweet talk fellow Filipinos. Wish I was sociable and personable like her. She got all of the social she got all the charisma. I did not. Da, 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 da. Is he singing?
Where's the spider that will scream?
The star? The screamer? Another big thing. Is there an extraction nearby? There is. Great. Let's risk our lives taking this all the way over there, shall we? No, 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 no. Yup. This one's gonna be the next one. Ah, what? Stupid eyeball, go away. The last time I dealt with an eyeball in this. Shall we turn these in? Hold on. Let's put them all in one cart.
We have like nothing. Only big things.
Yeah. Turn in the big things and then we can activate this one. Do you need
Sure.
help?
Wait, is this
Or-
the closest?
No.
I can go and...
I'll
Put the
activate
things
this
in.
one when you finish that one.
Right.
Is it the closest? Let's hide in here. Shotgun out. I'm ready. There was a lot of family meetings. I think every day we had a family meeting. Just plans for the next vacation and like all that stuff. Overall, it was pretty fun. Nothing too hectic. Oh, maybe just accommodation, but that's whatever. Maybe I should have gone with them. Chuck is okay, right? Ah, heck. I'll count to like 10, and if Chuck was fighting things over there, maybe I should have gone to help. But it made me realize that I do want to go on another vacation. I think the next family vacation is gonna be either in New Zealand or somewhere in Europe. Hey, family trips, it's always hectic. Yeah. It's pretty hectic. I have like 2 young nieces and they're always fighting. And then there's like a baby and he wants to always run around, and if you don't let him, he cries. Uh, but yeah. I think the only hectic this vacation was accommodation, because Ven and I had our own room, but then it was my mom's birthday, and my sister was like, "Oh, just share our room. We'll upgrade your room and give it to mom and dad." And so I was just like, okay. So we had to share a room with my sister and her family, which I don't mind. But like, it's kind of it's kind of like a voluntold situation. It's like I have this idea and you have no choice but to say yes kind of situation, and I was like, whatever. I'm not gonna stress, because if I say no, like, it's just another thing I'd have to deal with. So whatever. I'd be like, well, no. It's fine. I mean, it was like for her birthday, and yeah, they were able to upgrade the room that we had. Woo! I was
Eyeballs?
correcting myself too.
Wait. That's what that sound was. Oh no.
I already
Oh,
showed.
thank you.
I landed in the extraction point. No, but I lost the drone and my shotgun.
Don't you just love this level? This is where the spider makes its grand debut.
Chaku, don't fall.
Oops, oops. Well.
I mean, I wasn't even carrying something big. I was carrying a hecking guitar.
I'm so scared. Wait, why is it moving? Got it. It's okay, it's okay.
So brave of Jackie to just keep going. Oh, there was more. I see, I see. At least I didn't carry the other cart. I would have been thrilled that to only have one cart. Please don't fall off too.
Straight up.
What was I even yapping about? Oh yeah, and they had a really good view in their room. They had a view of like the sphere in Vegas. There's like this giant sphere that projects
There's
images.
okay.
They had a view of that. Our view was the other side, which was mainly mountains, which is fine too. Whatever. Can't tangle it. There's room at the bottom though. Sure.
Woo!
And then Ven and I saw people wearing cow pants, and we were like, cow pants. We want matching cow pants now. Okay. Look down as you walk so you do not fall.
Yeah.
Epcot Bob at Vegas. Cow pants, yeah! Oh god, okay. It was like cowboy pants, but with a cow print. Ha! Kidnapper. It was cow
Here,
print
found you.
and had like, I think it was fuzzy. I don't know. This way.
Shoot her! I have no bullets.
I don't have gun. I don't have gun.
No gun?
No gun, no HP. No gun, no HP, no money. Let me go back to the truck and get some HP. No. Did you get kidnapped? Ah, she on her way. This way. To the truck, to the truck. Hello. Whoa.
Here.
Thank you.
Whee. Oops.
Yeah, but staying with my niece, my niece was the one that was sick. And she, I don't know what it is with her, but she likes to cough in my face.
Rude.
Yeah.
Oh, this wonder of a room.
I remember
Where I
this
left the
room.
gun. Where is it? Help.
Help?
There's an item down there. And it's okay, I'm not even gonna pick it from there. Okay, like this.
Kids have no idea how to not spread their germs. Yeah. They would like roll around on the ground too. And I'm like, this is
Scarecrow.
Vegas, guys.
We can toss the scarecrow together.
Okay. Oh god.
Okay, whoa.
Nice. I'll leave that to you.
Oh, I got it. No!
Can I grab you?
Oh, hey, money. See? Always gamble. Oh, thank you.
You almost dropped into the abyss.
Well, I lost the soul that I got, but I got 5k as the
What is
consolation.
this? Oh. Was the soul 5k?
Soul is like 7,000.
Always gamble. You guys!
Always gamble.
Ellie has no self-control for this kind of enablement. I have no defenses for this. What is that? Trudge, 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 trudge.
Oh, he just jumped down. Okay. Cool.
Is he stuck or did he die?
Oh, I see him walking down there.
He's
He can
alive.
just jump.
Taya, do you have this game?
Can we toss him? Maybe I should just shoot. Fire!
Wow. Violence. Oh. Let's see. Would it be this way? It looks fun. It is fun! And the devs are pretty active too, so they're like constantly making upgrades. Updates? Updates. Yes. Constantly updating the game. I'll play with you. I know Bree doesn't like scary games, but this one's not too scary. Like, if I can play it... Oh, shoot. You guys played Peak? How was it? Oh, oh. I haven't touched Peak. I need to get a group together. A $600 stapler. Gotta get Bree on. Yeah! I feel like the four of you... Not the four of you, the three of you? I can't count. Playing this game? You just need upgrades. It's a pretty straightforward game. Sometimes the monsters like to bully, but one of you has to be brave. Is Ren brave? I feel like one of you guys. Whoop! Oh my goodness. Out of the three of you, someone has to be brave, right? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Jaku's brave for me. I don't have to be brave because I have Jaku. Added a new map. So, is it added to the end or is it added in between? In between. There's big things up here, Jaku. Ah, shoot.
Ow.
Sorry, did I drop that on you? Can you catch this?
Oops! Okay,
Can you catch this?
let me just first undo my...
Swaps with the tropics?
Okay.
So, instead of tropics being next, it's that new map? And then tropics?
Got it.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so laggy. Wow,
Uh-oh,
it just
sorry.
warps around. Oops.
No, 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 no. No, no, no. Yeah. It's right there. It's right there. No, 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 no. Yeah! No.
Oh yeah, let's see. Yeah, see?
Yay! Thanks, buddy. I got kidnapped.
Yeah, like that.
There's a hole in the room, so I'm trying not to look away from the screen. Did we only have one cart this whole time? Not this whole time, but like... I will assume that Jaco already went upstairs. Did you play when the Mesa came out at all? I don't remember when I last played, but Mesa doesn't sound familiar. I remember getting past the volcano part. And dying at the... inside the volcano. Because we had nothing left. No food, no stamina, no health. Stop. Stop. I hear like breathing and I feel like it's the kidnapper. Can this thing stop twitching? Oh my god. Let's put this in here. Whoop. Jaku? Jaku? Jaku?
Yeah.
Ah. Did you go down here?
There's a calculator down there in the room.
I'll go get it.
I didn't pick it up.
I'll go get it.
I can go and pick it up.
I'll go.
Oh.
I'll go. Okay, go ahead.
Ah.
I'll get the cart.
Can we fit the other cart, or should we just bring the cart to the next one? Is there so many big items that we can?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of big items in the next one too, or in the last one.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll fit.
It's
We
so
could try.
laggy, go in. Okay.
Alright, yeah, the other cart had like stuff popping out of it. I don't know what's going on. It's not me, I swear. I read a book over the
Yeah.
weekend. I finished one novella, and then I started another one. I started another book. Yeah. I think I'm in like chapter 8 now.
We can put the tiny ones too.
A D?
Here. Ooh. Okay, I'll put the big one first. Yep.
That's fine over there. Shore tropics / roots. Alpine Mesa? Is it not the snowy place anymore? That one was Alpine, right? Did they change it to Mesa? Or is it random? door fell on me.
What?
What is that big
Oops.
blue thing over there? Another cart?
Oh, that's where the card is. Okay, they pushed it down there.
Is it?
No, who is that? Why do I hear signs? Oh, you. Get out of here. Huh,
Coming
let me get
through.
this. Help, 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 help,
No
help,
helping, no helping.
help.
Got it.
No helping, no help. Don't you dare.
No helping, no helping. Where is it?
I'll just never know.
Is it down there but not gone? It's random?
this?
Oh. Oh, that's what you mean. So it doesn't add new. Add new maps into the thing. It swaps them out sometimes. I see, I see, I see. I'm willing to wait for it. Let's put this in that
Okay,
one.
You say as you put it.
What?
Oh. And like that, yeah.
Ready?
Hey.
Run!
Oh, I should run. Bye.
Bye! Did you get kidnapped? Oh god!
No, I tossed him down. Okay.
Did you get kidnapped? Okay.
No. I just threw him in the hole. You can also throw him in the hole, I think. I think he's 4-string.
Ooh. Ooh.
You're safe from them.
Ooh.
Just grab them by the throat. You pervert.
Wait. Oh.
Look!
Feather
Finally.
drone! I don't need.
After 10,000 years.
We don't need feather drone anymore,
Feather
right?
and... I mean,
I have
sometimes still handles.
Or range. Ooh, hiccup. 2 health upgrades. Yoink.
Potato.
There's 3 ranges. Yeah, there's 3 ranges. Expensive though. I think we're good on energy.
There's nothing else.
Yeah, may as well. Go ahead. Do you need?
I just like range at this point. When you have a lot of strength, then you can just pick the enemies from a safe distance.
28. Do you want stamina? 14k? 15k?
What's good?
20k?
Maybe I'll get this one too. Who knows?
May as well. What if 3rd giant cart? We're rich!
But who's gonna push the 3rd card?
The rolling drone will. LOL.
LOL. Finally, my beloved Dragon Eyes again. Woo!
Reunited at last. I still have my
So,
1 HP, 1 range,
1 range.
stamina.
2 range. The greed!
Whee!
I'll never use this toy gun ever again. Oh, it's so bad.
Leave it here.
It's just
Maybe we'll need it if we like lose one. Ah, I hate this
I'll
map.
never
It's so
die
dark.
ever again.
Oops. Come on. Come on.
Okay,
There you go.
there we
Hello. Where are we? Is this a giant hole in the ground?
go. Ooh. What is this room?
Okay. Be care. There is.
Oh, this was a lever. Ew.
Ah, this is
They
gross.
just had to. Oh, I feel bad too.
Tall baby. This game is so dark. I can't say anything. Stop. What is that? Ah! The plant thingy. Can it go away, please? Okay. What the hell?
Nice.
What is this? There's a coffin. Okay. I don't think I'll need the drones for this. Then might as well.
Dad.
Whoa. Okay, come on.
Oh, you're gonna run, huh? Fine. No roasted duck today. Oh.
And you do not want me carrying your coffin. Thank you for the follow. How are you? I can put this one in. It's not too much. Right there. That fits. Precariously placed. Wait. Oh,
Duck, 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 duck.
quack. I need to sneeze. Anything in this room? Why is it still there? Why is it still there?
There's only one meal.
Oh, it's gone. Oh no. Are you okay?
Yeah.
That was no face, right?
Yes.
Jeepus. This might be the one. Okay, I'll put this one in this one. Let's see. Alright, small things. Are you okay?
Guy loves me. Oh, it's a who.
Where is it? I haven't seen it. I only hear it.
Nice.
I dropped my shotgun somewhere. Jeebus! I also did a very poor job at hydrating over the weekend, so hydrate. Let me just chug this. Today's tea is blueberry sage. Yeah. For stress relief. I had a hard time hydrating. Okay. Where's Jakku? Jakku! Okay, I'll just repeat it. But so in Vegas, right? It was like everything's overpriced, right? And like a single bottle of water was $7, and Ven and I bought water from the hotel, and like the hotel shop thingy, and one bottle of water plus a soda was 14 or $16. And I was like, this is robbery. Ah! But apparently they have like the things in the hotel room are like weighted and stuff. So they'll know if you like take a sip of something or if you like remove something from the thing. And the water bottles in the hotel room were like $10 a bottle. They literally rob you.
No.
I can drink that. I can carry that.
I hate this thing.
I can carry it.
You can carry it?
Probably.
Oh.
Ah!
Ah!
What is that? Oh. Chef.
Baby. Full baby.
The map looks very symmetrical. I feel like there will be no closest and it'll just be equal distance. But I want to go look for it. Froggy. Oh no. Oh no. Thank you for the hydrate. Oh no. Oh no, no. Do not. No 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 no. Thank you. I will. Hold on. Ah. Thank you. You hydrate too, okay? How are you? I dropped my shotgun. Let me get some HP. And I feel like Jocko will need one too. So let me... Where? Jocko? Hey.
Too stuck.
Ah!
Up,
What the heck, man?
lag.
Do you need HP?
No. I need
You don't?
divine.
I need to charge my shotgun.
Oh, I wanna kill this duck.
Very nice.
Just sleep now. Thank you.
Into... Ah, come on! It's so hard to put this in the thing when it's dead. Charge. Do we even know where the next one is?
This map is so weird.
Why did it
This
make...
with oh my god, I almost pushed the money. Why
no
is it
face.
so hard to walk
No
forward
face.
in this game?
No face went through this door. Why does it know where I want to go? It knows where I
There
want to
is.
go. I want to sleep, but I have a presentation at 9 a.m. and don't trust myself to wake up 3 hours from now. So here I am watching streams. Oh my god. You need a bunch of coffee. Or take a nap. And just a million alarms. Ah, a painting. What are you presenting on? Couldn't be me. I cry at the thought of having to talk to people, let alone in front of a bunch of people where everyone's looking at me. No, thank you. This one's pretty close. We'll save this one then. I found the close one.
Presentations, huh?
This has to be one, right? Yeah. Boy, these single plank ones are always kill us. Do not perceive me. I say that all the time. I do not wish to be perceived. How to get attention without being perceived. The constant struggle of my life. Whoa! Your clown is falling off. I think I can bring this painting over there without damaging it. 18k? Yeah, just use this. Use my resources. Smile. Come on! Yeah, it was a good thing that I put the drone on it because the amount of times I just crack this on the side of a wall. Come. Ah! Okay, okay, okay. Obey me. Hey now, come on. Thank God. Why was that a struggle? This proposed system for a project. Ooh, tell me more, tell me more. Is it for school? For work? Whoa. I saw its face. But it didn't laugh. It just like zoomed in on it. Okay, I'll just wait. For college, nice. Well, good luck. Hang in there if you choose to stay up. Okay. Okay, we're fine. Oh, there's nothing in this room, right? No, nothing in this room. We're fine. Let me bring this. Watch, I won't damage this one at all. Why did that fall off on its own? Touch! Oop. Set down. This one's kind of full. Is it gonna fall off again? Where did my cart go? Did you go upstairs?
No,
I will go
I
upstairs.
didn't go downstairs either.
You can. Thank you.
Okay. You think he's dead?
I thought you were going downstairs. Mm. Well, at least my screaming will keep you up.
Just the occasional high pitch. Oops.
It-
Just like that, did it?
God damn. Oh, sorry. Did you go to the room? Yes, you may.
Yeah, there was this tiny little thing there.
Okay.
I'm a tall baby, it seems. Ew.
Okay. Well, I will walk backwards then. Oh, it's gone. Early celebration. I'm usually so good with these things, but for some reason right now, I'm hitting everything against everything. Maybe I'm lagging too.
Yeah. Oh, heck no. Again.
Again?
Oh no.
Vegas brain.
Can I aim? Flag? Hello?
I hear a duck. What level are you? I think we're in 12?
No, the duck is coming, Ellie!
The what?
The duck wants to destroy the crystal. No! 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 Help!
Jaku? Are you alive? Stuck where? I got it.
Oh. With this unlocked by the stupid apex predator. No!
Jaku, please.
Oh.
Are you okay? Where's the cart? I kind of lost it. There!
No, the frog is coming. Play the frog.
There's
The
nowhere to
frog.
put it. There's nowhere to put this. Okay, okay, okay.
Oh, eventually. Okay. This duck. This duck.
Oh, it's down here.
Stop pushing me. Why is it pushing so much?
Me when I'm in a pot. Where'd it go? I'm down to 2 bullets. Hi. Ah. Always give a girl a good. Yeah. Always give me a gun. Ignore the times that I missed. I swear I can aim. Jaku, are we back?
What?
Can we... Are you okay?
We can't fit this all.
Okay. Just this one then?
Yeah. Yeah, can you bring it this side? Oh, baby. It's all baby. All right.
Doesn't fit. Okay, it does fit. Ah! Tall baby, no look. Nice.
Oh, God.
I have 2 bullets left, by the way.
I have 2 bullets left as well, but I got still some darts.
Let's go look for the next one. Something here. Map.
Meh.
Map.
No face! Ah, no, no, behind you, behind you.
It's coming for you.
Come here, my son. Or father, I don't know.
Are you okay? Okay, it's moving. That means Chuck is
Yeah.
alive. Do you remember what level we're on?
Headman Manor.
Not that. Oh. This level. I need to make like a compilation of all the clips that I have of this game and make one video of it. I just don't have. I haven't put any time towards it. Maybe this weekend. We've gone in a circle, I realize.
Sometimes you break things, and sometimes things break you. It's just the way of life.
Are you okay?
Ah!
You going through
Yeah.
something psychological right now?
No. I'm getting psych damage with all these items breaking. Whee!
Are you okay?
Yes. Furious. Get back down here.
Something fall?
How many hitmen?
Don't fall off. What did I just say? Hecking heck. I jinxed myself. Well, may as well hydrate. Jaku will see my head hopping around. Let me see where I'm at. Hello. Where am I? Oh, I'm upstairs. Nice.
Hello?
Hello, I'm upstairs.
No. What? Oh no.
Oh, wait. Don't fall. The angry expression gets me. Ah!
Yes, yes. Just a tactical little damage thing. How did you make it all the way up here?
Talent.
Talent and skill. Actually, I'm gonna keep this an alarm.
You put too much faith in my perception skills. I am
Just
blind as
scream
heck.
real loud if you see. Oops.
Okay. I don't see anyone.
This will be loud. Surely I won't fall here.
Do not fall.
I've
Proceed
never
to fall.
fallen in this room. Okay, okay.
I had to look up so I knew where I was walking. And then that's stupid all. Oh no.
Please.
Oh, there's nothing there.
I can do this. Ooh.
Nothing there. What was that? The plant!
What, it's decent? Yeah. I left this.
Oh, Taku. Oh. Oh.
Whoa, okay.
We're both gonna be one shot. Hey! Stand clear! Stand clear! Thanks. Bad things happen in this room. At least the
This
last
is
one
a
is
curse.
easier.
Yeah. It's just so dark. Oh yeah, the TV. Yeah, but
Oh.
can we make it before all those
Edmund.
headmen and noise come back?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Why are they back? I'm gonna go activate it. I can carry this. Okay. And then it's just one cart. Jaku, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm getting bullied by nothing.
No face, huh? I got it.
Oh no, it's coming back.
I don't know if Jaku's gonna get the soul for that, and I should wait, or... Let's go closer just to see. Time to go? I'll take this, you can run back.
Well, before, maybe we can shoot one more.
Okay.
We don't need to shoot anyone. Let's just...
Just go, just go. Beep 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 beep. Beep 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 beep. Uh-oh. Not me. Certainly not me. Oh no. It's Chuck.
No! 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 Oh. Easy.
Jesus. In the truck, yeah. Heckin' heck.
HP, HP, HP. Any strength? Yeah.
Lots of money.
I need to be faster.
HP. Should I be faster? With my 2 speed?
I to do so.
That's fine.
Yeah, maybe you need more.
Oh,
What
how many
else?
hops do I have?
Sometimes it can save
have
you
2.
from falling if you have a lot of guns. One potato?
Wait, I want to try the tumble climb. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah.
Ah! 1k. Remove that smaller one. This one.
Okay. If you say so.
It's fine.
If you say so.
It's fine. It's fine.
If you say so. Ça va? Ça va?
Ça va?
Ça va?
Trankin is at 0. Do you have the drone?
Yes, I do for some reason.
I tried.
Oh yeah, that's.
Ah.
I forgot. Do you want the sprint speed?
How many tumbles do you have? Or not tumbles, jumps. Oh, you already got it? Never mind.
Oh, wait, 2 jumps, yeah.
You have 2? Okay.
No, I have 2. Gun.
Ba-bam, ba-bam,
Gun.
down.
Gun.
I have 200 HP. I feel invincible.
Oh. You can get shot still twice. It's not enough. Survive.
Try the climb. Oh, skill. I haven't tried it yet. 13. We're in level 13. How do I do it? Like this?
Put in the card.
Then what? How do I do it?
Laser.
How do I climb?
You don't have to press anything else except nothing else really works. No scrolling. Oh, you can look at that, of course.
Do I need
The scroll
stamina?
doesn't work, and yeah, it drains stamina.
Heck. Now I need that crouch rest.
Or more climbing things.
Jeep is taking forever. Hello?
So many items.
Wow. I don't have to go into the... Oops. I don't have to go into here. So I can reach all the way from here. Oh,
Yeah.
do I just roll this
Range
down?
OP.
Oh, that was the wrong item. I almost shot it with my shotgun. 31?
Ooh.
Jeepus.
Well, this is 22.
I think we're not gonna get much this. this round. Ew, I hate that.
Is that an eye? No. Nope.
The
No.
tax man and his face.
Did I take the string? Oh, you did.
I have 4 strength.
Wait, can I lift you in a cart now? 7.
I'm under the cart. Okay. Whoa!
Okay.
There's something up here. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Ground level, please. Thank you.
Ding ding.
Another one. Hold on. Oh! Let me go. Another one.
What is this?
This place was a club, I guess. Oh my god, I'm getting dizzy.
Your favorite item.
Oh god, the motion sickness, please. I had all of the things turned off. My eye is giving up on me. No! You have 3 hours? I mean, a 20-minute nap. Are you gonna be okay to present with no sleep?
Baby.
He's out of the way. Rugrat? Never trust a 20-minute nap. I think if you take a cold shower, you'll be fine. Do this most of the time when we have presentations. You poor thing. Tell me, those dark circles that you worked hard for, how did they look? Six K. We're gonna need another cart. You're insane. need another cart. My mom always tells me to sleep early because of my dark circles. And I'm just like, but mom, I lost sleep earning these. It makes more sense in Tagalog, but English not so much. Ah. Ah, ah. I like cat bath. Whoa.
Why do I jump? I always die.
So odd. When did these fall off? Hello.
Hello.
Take a shower. Sounds like a plan.
Shall we?
Yes. Do you know if you're going first? Then you can just pass out right after and like zone out everyone else's presentation. You did most of the work. Ah.
Plastic.
Sometimes it can't be helped. What's downstairs? I hate these rooms with like the squishy floor. Whoops. How do I get in here? There's a thing. There's things in there.
So
Dog? Going first? Maybe I'll see if I get there early later. At least you're going first, then you can just... I heard Trudge. Then you can just relax once it's done. If you did most of the work, will your team present? Oh gosh. No, 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 no. No, no, no.
got him?
Not the last bomb. But yeah, I did.
Oh no, I love it.
Sorry, sorry, sorry. Ah! Stop it. Ah! Leave me alone! Oh my god, let me get up. Let me get up, let me get up, let me get up. Where did my shotgun go? Where did my shotgun go? Is it gone forever?
Did he fall through the floor?
Huh.
Watch out!
You can't reach me from up here. Where
Oops.
did I go?
I forgot how to do this. Oh no. Oh no. Whew. There's a soul down there. Can you find it?
No. Oh. It's kind of...
Up, up.
It's kind of stuck. Oh, no. There you go. Ah! Yay! I feel exposed. I don't have a weapon.
We have that extra toy gun. Carton.
Where
Wait, I
did
can
my
give you this
shotgun
one. I
go?
have the tranquilizer.
Kinks.
Do you think it like flew somewhere up? No, we didn't.
I don't see it. Maybe if we unlock the other map, or the next part of the map.
Oh yeah, is it here? No.
When I had to do presentations or group project stuff, I would try to do most of the clerical work and the research and then writing the
What's it?
essays and stuff. So I can like get away with not speaking much. I'm full if you'd like to hold it. This thing keeps falling off. don't know where to put you. Have we not found the next part yet? I'll go. Okay, this is one, but I don't know if it's the closest one. Have we found the closest one? Let me double check. Yeah, that is the closest one then. Come here! Hello? Wait, oh, wait, wait. I did it. I did it by myself. I'll put it in that one. Hello. I think that one's the closest.
Yeah.
I'll keep going. Find the next closest. Not this room. There's an— oh, I should have worn Jaku. This one? Oh, yes. Can't wait to graduate so I can cut off some people from my life. Ah. Ooh. But not everyone. You never know. Some people are hi. Some people are good to have as references in job applications. Otherwise, yeah, cut away. What? Okay. Do not fall off, please. Client timeout? Okay, dang. Jeez, what happened? Oops. Wait, we were doing so good too. Is it my internet? How's stream? Am I dropped frames 505? How's stream? Is stream okay? Did it end? No, it's fine. Okay, we go again. Sorry, Jaku. Oh wait, it has to be this one. I I killed the alien too on my own, and the game was like, nah, you're getting too powerful. We gotta close the game right now. Wait. Welcome back. Maybe we'll get a different map,
We would
but not the manor.
Magjanek.
Not that either. No! Why'd you have to say it?
Yeah!
Why'd you have to say it?
Magjanek and give me like
Oh,
5
okay.
spiders.
No! What do you mean? What do you
Oh,
mean?
yes. It went so well too.
I guess I'll take this one.
one.
You're yawning? Is it bedtime? Hello?
Nah.
Housekeeping. Tax collector.
Whoa, just
Monsters. Summon everything.
Youngsters.
Monsters.
No face, no face, no face.
Is there actually no face, or are you summoning no face? This'll fit, right? Ha! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Don't drop anything. Jaku, wait! Jaku, wait! It's gonna blow up!
Ah, these don't blow up. They just burn.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. Oh no, oh god, the items are so laggy.
Maybe it's the game. Maybe it's not me. I'm never the problem.
I mean,
I'm never the problem. No, don't come out. Don't. There is no face. I just held the door. No face is checking. That's not no face.
that's not no face.
What?
And done.
Easy. Hello, monsters. I have a laser gun for you. Jeez, so many of these TVs are on. I've never actually used it, I just know not to. That's it. Ah! That's a huntsman, I hear. Huntsman! Come here. Come up the stairs, huntsman. Where'd it go? Huntsman! Yes. I hear the humming. Okay. Well, that works too.
Another one.
Two huntsmen?
Oh, the lag saved me. He shot me right in the eyes.
Did he die or did it break the other thing?
How is that even possible? Yeah.
He's the huntsman's, but you're the one hunting him. You're not scared anymore. Deuterium. Deuterium. High grade D2O. Deuterium. Deuterium oxide. Research purposes. What's deuterium?
High grade.
Isn't that a hydrate? Heck. Thank you. Hydrate too. Jesus, sounds like I'm in pain from hydrating. This is a big thingy. Oh. Come on. Be kind to me. I will take you to my... Okay, okay. Hydrating too hard. It's an Olympic sport. In terms of effort. I did not hydrate very well in Vegas. One, because it's expensive over there. One hotel room bottle was $10, which is not that much better from the store's $7 water bottles. Or was it 8? I don't remember. It was a lot. And then we went to a bagel place inside of the hotel that we stayed in. The other one. What's over here? Oh. Because that was the only thing open. And we had a $50, not coupon, but like... credit? Oh my god, okay. Wait, I don't want to go that way. Me!
Me.
Me! Ew. We haven't found the closest one yet, right? Well, I hope it's not this one. Alright, it's this way then. Truck hasn't been through here. That has to go to the next one. Oh, that also has to go to the next one. $10 water in Vegas versus 10 pesos? What is this? Oh, I know this room. Man, can you trust Philippine water though? Are you Filipino? Hello? That's a green light. That's not... I don't know how to kill you. I just aim and shoot.
Oh, it ran away.
I hope you weren't... Okay. I thought I shot you.
No.
Aha! This is the next one. Uh-oh. I'm stuck.
Another one.
I'm stuck.
Oh, do I have something for you, you ugly?
I think this is the closest one then.
Oh yeah, I can't get up with it. Oh hey. I'm fine.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Ah.
Dental appointment. Okay.
So I lost the 50-50. No gamba. No gamba. What? Okay, well. Is there something over here? Oh.
Yeah, this thing.
That one over there is the closest. Shall we finish the beginning one?
We shall,
I don't even know where I left my cart.
shan't we?
Where's my cart?
It's here. This one.
That's my cart?
Yeah.
I'm caught between wanting to finish the book that I'm reading versus waiting for the next one to come out. Because people are speculating that the next book comes out the end of this year, or... I can't lift this. Hold on. End of this year or early next year. And I'm like, if I finish it now, I'll have to wait. Or I can take my time. Oh my god. Take my time. Always gamble. No! I lost so much money. Let me get this so I'm not one shot. Because we do have a huntsman in the map. Are you 100 HP at least?
2 huntsmen.
There's 2 huntsmen. Oh, where's my... Is my drone in there? Oh, it's over here. You are Filipino? Nice. Me too, me too. Where did... Okay. Did I just hear a heartbeat? Am I being hunted?
No. Are you just going crazy? I mean, she would have hunted us in the beginning, right? Surely
No, I
they
killed
wouldn't
her.
Spawn her later. Oh,
There she is.
well, there she is. Oh yeah, you did. What? Okay. How much health?
I helped. I helped. Grabbing it. Okay. We'll go this way because this other way is this. Ah! Do you reside in the Philippines? No, I'm in the Pacific Northwest of the United States of America. To the Republic for which something. Amen. Whatever. I don't... Oh, that's American. Yeah. I'm just kidding, I hate it here, haha. A laptop. It sounds like one of the huntsmen are back. Which means the other one is also back. Oh, okay. That scared me. I thought it was a monster. Love America, Cope.
Flying barrel. Oh, I want to eat some American food.
American food. In other countries, what is American food? What is considered American food?
Something that will make me fat. Insane amount of
Something
carbs.
deep fried and
Oh,
ah!
oh yes.
You're craving something deep fried.
Deep fried onions in mayonnaise or something crazy.
Deep fried onions with mayonnaise. Actually, deep fried onions, isn't that onion rings or something? That's a thing, actually. So yeah, I guess that is considered.
I saw a video of some crazy guy frying massive onions.
There's like a restaurant that sells blooming onions, which is like an onion that they
Oh
deep
yeah, it
fry,
does bloom,
and it
yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
I've never had that. Steak is a American.
Wait, I have train ones.
He fell. It worked. It worked out.
The fool.
Oh, where's the cart?
Some Texas
Grandpa
barbecue.
did not appreciate our yapping. Throwing no food is food for me. I love learning about other people's culture and cuisine. I think Ven's also been starting to cook recipes from other people's culture. I think right now he's in like Greece or something. He's making Greek food. If you have a recipe you'd like to share with me, I would love to try. Although right now I'm really struggling getting myself to start baking again.
Cheesecake, cheesecake.
Ha! I miss
Blueberry mint cheesecake.
baking. Oh, my eyeball. Ah.
Cheesecakes are barely baking. Barely counts baking. Do we finish? No, there's still a card here, but we can't fit.
We can finish that one if it's full.
Can't fit that. Yeah.
Is there a card in
Just
there?
dangle the big thing.
I don't know. The cart will fit if you dangled the thing, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, hold on. On me way. Ooh, a little lower. A little lower. A little lower. Yeah, that's good. Woo! Catch, 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 catch. Ah!
Hey! Oh, I didn't catch.
Funny, haha. Food classes that most American foods are just us adding something to something that already exists from another country. Ah, yes. Appropriation. Just kidding. But that's really how cultures survive, really. Ah! Help, 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 help. I
I don't know how to help. Do we need to go heal?
I touched it. I'm at 93. So I'm one shot, but I touched it out of curiosity, and it did not appreciate that. Ah, heck. We're okay. We're okay. Not gonna say anything. If I don't say it, it won't happen, right? Focus real hard. I'm I made a Basque cheesecake the other day. What's that? That sounds good. Do you need the indestructible drone for that? You good?
Mm,
Do you want
I'm good, I'm
the
good.
feather drone for that?
I'm good, I'm good. I have 7 strength. I'm a beefcake!
Look down now.
Little fish.
See, this is why your parents tell you not to touch things. I'm curious. It's a burnt cheesecake. A slight caramelly flavor to it. Ooh. I want to try. You have a picture of it? Can you add me in Bree's channel or server? If you have a photo of it there. Oh, thank you. Did you hear me struggling? Looks good. Never sent a pic of it, but I will now. Yay! You're gonna make me hungry, which is fine. I feel like even if it makes me hungry, it should be like motivation for me, you know? And then I'll want to bake again. It's almost Thanksgiving too. I have to bring something to the fam. I think they're expecting me to bring the strawberry thing, which I still haven't learned how to make yet. It's like a strawberry tres leches donut. I don't know how to get the cream right. I haven't even tried. It requires... What is that? Stop it. Trial and error as I learn to make it just right, you know? Heck. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Why is she always after me? She hit me! huntsman's back. Get off! Thanks. So I just had to yell at it. Okay. Well, I've... No. Okay. Those sounds mean that Jaku's still alive. Right! What do you mean? She's after me again. Okay, this time I'll be ready. Ah, heck. Ah! No! Heck. Okay, Jackie's coming. Hi!
Ew, don't talk to me.
Rude!
I brought you some lunch.
Thank you. There's a huntsman. Did it cancel my shot? Hey, I'm at 18 health. Thank you, though. I think that lunch did save my life.
Don't laugh! Oh, that's...
Ow! See, I tried to do that.
Oh, please. Oh, no, 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 no. Okay.
Oh.
I'm just gonna
Did you kill the lady?
risk it. I did, yeah. Whoa, almost fell.
Haha. Couldn't be me.
Haha.
Haha.
Woo!
Look, we made it. Cheers.
I don't know how we're gonna run back from the last one. There are like 1,000 Oogleys, huntsmen, and that lady's constantly harassing you.
I think
Catches high.
one of us stays in the truck.
It's impossible. It just sounds impossible.
Catch, catch, catch.
Or yeah, you could use the tranquilizer gun to just put them all to sleep and run past it. Maybe that's the way.
The way I have to like focus on that plank.
Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to hydrate.
Hey. Ah, it's empty.
What's up? Oh, gambling. Okay. No, 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 it's fine. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's go. Big money, big money, big money.
I can't.
Easy jackpot.
Nice.
I think
think
if you
I heard-
interrupt the thing, it will just explode.
Oh. No!
Yeah.
I heard him too.
Back.
It was foreshadowing. Oop. Well. Heck.
Where's the next one? Where did we come from? Is it this?
There's items there. In the next extraction, there's
There's
items
what?
that we left there.
Oh, okay. There I stay.
Well, guess I'll hydrate. 5:30 a.m. here. I've been. Is it shower time?
Oh dear. Wait, and now we have to run it together.
Oh, that's true.
Wait, don't tell me it doesn't.
Oh, it does.
Oh, I'll kill later. Man.
Struggle. It's a good thing Jock is the one alive
no.
because I do not have the strength for
Oh
this.
no, the lady's back. I'm gonna dangle this, but... Get in here, get in here.
Don't fall off. 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 Behind you! Behind you! Behind you! Behind you! Ah! No! No! Everything is going wrong! Oh!
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Please, thank you.
Ah! I took a bullet! No, 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 no! How do you... Okay, okay. Just go, just go, just go. No, just go, just go, just go. Where am I? that was horrible.
Sorry, can you recover
No,
me?
it's fine. As soon as I spawned in, she was like looking right at me and going up the stairs. It was terrifying.
I just should have waited for it to come a little bit.
It's
Oh, Lola!
I think we need the crystals now. Ah.
Shrinking.
I want these rest ones.
Do you have money?
15K.
Then we're gonna need this guy.
Why not? We can afford it. And then this small HP. Why not? Okay.
Why not?
We're rich!
Because we're rich!
Oh, I missed one. May as well. the Gamba guy took a bullet for you and it turned into a soul orb.
Yeah.
It was sad,
Gave me
tragic
life.
death.
I just keep winning. Except one time that I absolutely can't afford to lose.
Alright, y'all. You know what time it is.
What time is it?
It's time for Ellie to go. Nor. Where's my drone? Don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that.
It's done.
One.
It doesn't matter, it all resets anyway. Ugh.
Does it? Alright. You think not? It's time to go.
Okay.
I will see you guys
Thanks for
on
playing with me. I'll see you later.
Monday. Bye. Wait,
Bye-bye.
I'll take us to the next one so that it keeps our upgrades. Unless you left already. Oh shoot. Oh shoot. Oh. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I had a lot of fun. A lot of screaming. My throat is hoarse. Good luck with your presentation. Take a cold shower to wake yourself up. I'll see you guys Monday. Yeah. Take care. Take care of yourselves. Drink water. Also thank you for the follow. Thank you for the